I keep saying I look in periods of life. It's hard for me to say, oh, 10 years, 15 years. Like, it's just not realistic. So much happens in 5. So like for the next 5 years, right? Like I'm very much committed to just do this more. And how do we, my mantra right now is like, how do we get more and do less? I just want to do a lot of that.
Most people think saving money is the answer. But the truth is, saving only gets you to zero. Join Mike and Zach as they flip the script from saving to earning, from zero to unlimited potential. Welcome to Save to Zero.
Okay, everybody, welcome to episode number 19 of the Save to Zero podcast with our buddy Skyler Garman. Skyler, thanks for taking some time to hang out with us today. How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Fantastic. So now Skyler is part of a mastermind that we're in, and he has a growing asphalt company as well as a real estate portfolio or a real estate company that he has as well, where he purchases, repairs, and sells single-family homes. So we're going to kind of go over things, and we're going to see what he's got going on. Skyler is definitely somebody who is not focused on saving. He's focused on growing. Before the show started, we got some background on him, so we're going to find out what he's got going on. So Skyler, 50,000-foot view. Tell us about yourself. 30 seconds or less. That's it. Go.
Got it. So yeah, started off, I did not start in this world. I started off in products, retail sales in sports nutrition. From there was ups and downs. I wanted predictable revenue, and I just honestly looked at industries that I thought were stable and they didn't change, and there was just bad operators, which was a window of opportunity for me. I landed in asphalt. Real estate has always been part of my life per se, but wasn't a large focus or push. I did a couple deals a year, and since changed that and focused more with the real estate from the asphalt money and stability.
Awesome. So you said that you went into asphalt because you thought it was a good recession-resistant industry, from what I get. What is it that made you... how much did you know about asphalt before you got into it?
Absolutely zero. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about asphalt. Everyone, they were like, so asphalt, you're going to do that? I'm like, yeah. They're like, why? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it was recession resistant and, it was a good industry. So knew nothing.
How'd you get started?
For what it's worth.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How'd you get started? Like, okay, your company's name's ProSeal. Do you do seal coating or do you like pour new driveways? Or like, how did you buy? I assume it takes equipment to do this. Like, how'd you go about this thing?
Yeah. So, previous company, I was leaving, I was shutting down and kind of moving on to streamline my life. At that point, real estate was still a very integral part of my life. And that was a lot of, large sums of cash for me. And I was always smart with my money. So I had money set aside and I was just looking industry to industry. And at this point, I did live a very passive life. Like I could be on the beach and I could make predictable revenue and I absolutely had to do nothing, at this point in my life. And I texted a few of my buddies and I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to do some asphalt. And they're like, what? They're like, bro, you don't even gotta get out of bed. Like, why would you do that? I'm like, yeah, I dropped 20 grand on a rig. Like maybe I make some nice side cash on the weekends because I'm just bored. And one of my friends, at the time, he texted me, he's like, hey, don't do that. I know a guy. And I'm like, what do you mean you know a guy? He's like, he's got a truck for sale. He's like, well, and if you know this individual, he's very quick to downplay things to get you in on it. He's like, he's got a truck for sale. Just talk to him. Next thing you know, I show up and he's like, got this already established business, so it definitely was not just a truck. And he's like, yeah, I think we should buy this. And I'm like, no, I was talking about spending 20 grand on a rig, not buying a business, bro. So yeah, it started in sealing. It was a seal coating company. I purchased the business now. This is about 6 years ago. It was husband and wife, 2 high school kids. And he had what I thought was possible. The start of what I had was possible, but he was just a bad operator. He couldn't get out of his own way. Control freak, needed to be on every job. Very, very just it was that he was a Marine. So it was that Marine mentality of just I can do this. I got everything. I'll carry the entirety out of the back. And he wasn't a good delegator.
Gotcha. So you started with the seal coating. Where did you go from there? How did you get to actually doing asphalt from, dirt work?
My knowledge base of how did I even learn the trade, in inadvertently to a normal company purchase. I worked for the owner for 6 months instead of the owner working for me with the purchase to train me. So for about 6 months, I worked. I look back and I made a really bad deal. I just didn't care at the time because I didn't need the money. But like reflectively, I look back and I forget what my payment was, like $15 an hour. I was like, cool, whatever. Like, I don't care.
You own the business
like,
and he's paying you $15 an hour.
yeah, like
I
I,
love
was like,
that.
I don't care, bro. Like, you know, it's like I'm not working for the money. I need to know what you've known for the past 20 years in 6 months. So like the money was nothing to me really at the time. It was just like, whatever. But like I realized I messed up. You know, like I was working 100-hour weeks and, you know, doing the thing. But my first introduction was like, we get to a large HOA project sealing, and he hands me a broom and he's like, you want to learn how to seal? Go seal 100 driveways. I'm not touching the broom. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, he just yelled at me the entirety of the time until I sealed 100 driveways. And by the 100th one, it was like perfect. And he was like, great, now you know what you're doing. And this went on for a few months. And he then mentally checked out. So we were like, I was only supposed to like actually close the deal on the first. We had a written agreement with the closure on the first. He was just checked out and he became more of a nuisance than anything. So like we eventually got to the point, I'm like, hey, what's the number for you to leave like right this minute? Like there was about 6-8 weeks left of the season. And he threw us, it was something dumb, like, I don't know, 34 grand or something, just like, where'd you get that number? He's like, I don't know, it just sounded good to me. And I'm like, great, wire sent, see ya.
Bye.
Yeah. It ended up working out like at that point, we ended up getting like the largest project they ever did was like 560,000 square. We got like a 650,000 square foot project. So like the numbers ended up shaking out and we got it done. But yeah, that was my knowledge base. But in the asphalt industry, they all lead to one another. So like maintenance would lead to, you know, crack filling, and then crack filling would lead to painting if we're doing parking lots. But then when you're doing the maintenance, there's a pothole. And next thing you know, you're doing a 1x1 pothole. And, you know, in the beginning, it was like throw the mix in the hole and just compact it down and do it. And then it was like, well, we're going to buy a saw now. And you saw cut the hole and compact it. Then it was like, okay, now we're going to start doing large patching. And you're doing a 10x10 patch. And you're like, okay, we're going to do this large patch by hand. And then next thing you know, you're killing yourself with wheelbarrows. And you're like, man, a small little paver would be great to just do these little pools. And next thing you know, you're doing patch paving. And you're like, wait, I have this little paver. Like, I could rip a few driveways with this thing. So it's just so progressive, but all the way uphill, you know, it gets to the commercial paving aspect of things.
So how did you progress from just sealing them? Like, where did your education come to actually laying asphalt? Did I miss that?
It started, I mean, a lot of it was, you know, I can't say I cowboyed it a lot of the time. Like I was like, all right, asphalt, you know, watch YouTube videos, do the thing. And I learned how to patch, and then I did it really bad. And where I actually did get good experience was I hired experience.
Right.
So, you know, I did definitely some aprons and patching, and I was like, I hate this. Like, this is the most miserable thing. How do guys make money doing this? Like, this sucks. And they're like, I hired a guy with some experience and we did some patchwork, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is pretty easy. Like you're like, yeah, when you know what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's hysterical. So, well, let me ask, how many employees do you have today? How many trucks do you have?
So we sit like peak season, we're like 15 employees.
Nice.
And it varies between 4 to 6 crews pretty much.
Okay.
It just depends what we're doing.
That's fantastic. So what do you do during the off season?
Real estate is the focus there. We still do some indoor stuff. We do a lot of control joint work in warehouses. We do indoor line painting, so we'll straight warehouse facilities, those type of things. But real estate has been the entirety of the focus. The constraint in a northeastern asphalt business is definitely the seasonality of it. Seal coating, that was another push. Like, there almost isn't an option if you want something at scale. I didn't know all of this. You know, I went into it blind and I was like, yeah, seasonal business takes 6 months off. Like John used to go to the beach for 6 months, like in Florida for 6 months, work for 6 months, new Porsche, new truck every year. I was like, this is the life. But then when I realized I didn't want to do all the work all the time, I was like, man, this doesn't work. It's broke. Like the model does not work. So asphalt takes you from, say, 5-6 months of the year to 9 or 10 months out of the year, which that's just the natural progression. And then you still have that, that gap to close. So we have the crew and we have the guys. They're all pretty skilled. A lot of these guys have come from construction trades. They've been carpenters, they've been painters, they've been those type of things that we've trained on the asphalt side. And I had the knowledge base sitting there. And, some of these guys are getting paid salaries. So they had idle time. And I'm like, man, we could just probably take them all back to what they came from. And I am very comfortable with real estate. It's just, that is my comfort level. You tell me put money in the S&P, I'm not comfortable. I don't know enough. Crypto, those things, they don't attract me. I don't understand it. Real estate, I understand. So I switched to real estate in some of those off seasons.
So your guys switch completely. So your crews that you're using to lay the asphalt and work in that business there are simply switching over and changing trades. Am I understanding that?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. That's brilliant. What a business model.
It's cool.
Because now you got them working year round.
Yeah, you don't have to lay them off each year and then hope you can get them back. And then that kind of screws you over for the asphalt season if you can't get good help. And that's cool. That's a great way to do it.
Retain talent. And a lot of these guys and it was our struggle in the beginning. We didn't have it the whole time. We would cycle people. And then a lot of these guys are, say, making, in our area, $45,000 is the median salary for an individual. And you throw out 80 grand a year and they're like, wait, what? I can make 80? I'm like, yeah, you can make double what you make now. But there's one caveat. We work year round here. And they're like, sold. Man, do you know what this can do for my family? I can buy the new truck I wanted. I can, pay for the things. I can start putting my kids in college. So it's kind of been our attraction, model of, it's an unconventional benefit to the team.
Interesting. Now, do you have a goal as to how big you want to be? I know you're in PA, correct? So
yeah.
I know that you service a certain area. Are you looking to add on other locations and really scale? Or are you looking to penetrate the market further where you are?
I have had all different answers to this question at all different times. And I think with life changes, with business model,
it depends on the week. Some days you're like, yeah, I'm done.
With the week, I mean, we could say some days I question my own sanity, but no, I definitely at one point I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, nationally. And I very focused nationally, but then I also realized even though I can do it, is the discretionary effort worth one job over there? So then I focused solely in Pennsylvania for a while, and now I'm focused coastally. The East Coast is my comfort zone. I can cover the East Coast entirely. We can deploy. I have a very large network of contractors. I do belong to some masterminds and stuff just in this realm. I consult for a lot of clients, so I've actually been able to build my own subs per se of I get to teach them my way and I know they're going to execute a job right. So if I have a client somewhere that I can't get to or something, I have someone to be able to complete it on our behalf.
Oh, that's fantastic. And when you do that, are you getting a referral fee? Is that how it works?
Yep, referral fee.
Nice.
Okay. That's fantastic. So explain to me let's go to the houses. When you're flipping houses,
yep.
Are you only flipping them in the down months for asphalt, or are you flipping them year round?
We scale in the down months, but we typically try and keep something going because I can't just shut down the pipeline, right? Velocity is everything to me.
Absolutely.
I am a little, again, everyone has their own rhyme or reason how they do things. I'm velocity. I'd rather keep money moving. I'd rather keep money deployed. I'd rather keep crews going. And it's just understanding the scheduling of those things and building it into the projects that we're buying. In the off season, we are aiming for roughly our construction is $10,000 a week. So if it's $40,000, 4 weeks, that project will be done. We just extend that time period in the in-season because we know we're not going to be as quick and as efficient because we do have other things going on. So we just build those into our hold costs.
So let me understand, in season, do you have guys, am I correct in assuming that one day they're doing asphalt, one day they're hanging drywall?
Seasonality is the thing here, right? So we can lose last year we lost about a month and a half just from the front end. May is typically our up month, and it rained the entirety of May and the first 2 weeks into June. So like
Wow.
I have always been in a business, I not always, but in this business, should I say, where the weather has controlled my income, and I just ultimately tried to get away from that. It's why I got out of snow removal. We did snow removal in the beginning, and then we had like 2 or 3 really bad winters where it was like there's no snow on the ground. I'm like, I got no money, it's not enough for what I want to do. So yes, to your point, they do switch back and forth.
Okay. And do you have somebody, are you involved? I know you said you didn't want to do the asphalt as far as going out there and actually doing the work. Explain to us how your structure is broken down within the management in the company.
Okay, so I title myself as CEO. I am ultimately responsible for all things that flow up to me. I have an administrator, which is Charles. He runs all of the accounting, bookkeeping, HR, those things. I have a sales manager. She is actually not even at our location. She's a remote employee. She's in the Carolinas. She flies in once a month for some presence-based leadership with the team. She's actually here this week. So it's fun to have her in town. She runs the sales team, 15-minute Zoom calls every morning and weekly check-ins. She then has 2 infield reps, outside sales reps underneath her, which would be Chuck and Stuart. And then she has our CSR or frontline rep that's answering all the phones and doing all tabletop quotes, which would be Kelly. And then I have a foreman that runs construction and paint. He came from the construction industry, so he knows it in and out. And then he has 2 guys under him. And then I have 2 crew leads over on the maintenance and asphalt side that run their teams of 3.
That's very detailed. That's fantastic. I'm curious because they say hire A players. You got somebody in North Carolina who's running your sales team. How did you find her?
So I actually used a recruiting website that sourced her. Yeah, it was a lot for me to understand in the beginning, but talent for us is a constraint. I always say we live in a very weird bubble of the world. It's great because we're so central to everything. I can be in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, majority of those states in under 2 hours. So from a point of reach, we have great reach, but from the point of locality, everyone's good talent can be an hour and 20 away, an hour and 30 away. And the commitment to make that drive every day or do the thing, it's hard to get really good talent, really local. So we had to get creative.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
So she's checking in. How often did you say on the Zoom call? Weekly call with their team?
She meets with them. She has what we call a 30-minute daily huddle. So every morning between 7 to 7:30, she has a daily huddle with the sales team. And then twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, we meet with the entirety of the company. I sit on those meetings for 30 minutes, bottom to top. So what'd you do today? What are you doing yesterday? Any roadblocks for support? Those type of things we address in the morning meeting.
Fantastic. So what is her background in terms of sales?
Her husband was in the blue-collar trades for 20-ish years or something like that, 20, 30 years. So he owns a drywall company down in the Carolinas, so she knows the blue-collar trades in and out. She worked for some larger corporations. She worked under private equity for a while. She then got out and became a consultant, and now does her thing and consults for other businesses. And, it started out as hey, I'll give you I think we hired her for 20 hours a week or something. And she was like, yeah, I got that bandwidth. And then it was like, yeah, well, we need 25. Yeah, we need 30, Eventually I'm like, hey, I understand you got other clients, but what is this? How do we make this make sense where it's us? I'm fine if you do whatever else you need to do, but I need your discretion here. So yeah.
So how do you find your crews and your local guys?
We work with a recruiting company. So we have a little trick too. This would be a trick that I can give everybody, and I'll provide value to all of your blue collar trade listeners. Is we work with a company that actually sources our technicians, foremen, and crew leads, and they typically target the individual, retargeting via Facebook ads, and the main goal is to target the wife. So
Interesting.
we target the wife of the individual to get the buy-in. So when they are putting it in at our facility, the wife is bought in and it's not a fight. She believes in the better future because it's what we believe we're offering
How
them.
do you position that? So if your husband works for us, this is the benefits he gets. What do those ads look like?
Culture. It's
Okay.
teams, right? Like today, everyone was in office. I catered Chick-fil-A for the team. We're all eating together. We're doing the thing. We do projects in the Carolinas. I rented, $1 million, $2-3 million Airbnb on the water that has a movie theater in it and has ping pong tables. And I have 10 guys in a house and there's pools in the backyard and hot tubs. And those are the pictures that we're putting out. Those are the ads that we're showing out because
Gotcha.
now it's, hey, this is your
Okay.
culture. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of this team instead of, hey, my husband isn't appreciated and he just gets told to shut up and sit in the truck and he'll figure out where he's going when he gets there, right? Like the husband comes home after he worked all day bitching.
Yeah, it's true.
So you got to get the wife buy-in.
I like that.
That's interesting. In my second company, it was a construction company in the restoration industry. And because the project managers had a certain level of stress on them, we always made sure that as part of the interview process, the wife came in and had an opportunity to ask questions.
Yep.
And we found that when we did that, it increased retention considerably because if the wife says no, it's no.
Yep.
And not only that, once we explain the whole process to her and the whole program of how they get paid, draw against commission, what people in the industry make on average, et cetera, then if he comes home and says something different, the wife says, well, wait a minute, that's not what said during the interview process. Explain. And it was interesting how often the wife became part of our HR team. It was very interesting.
Yeah, we've
And
done
then
this.
we actually had frontline. So that was for the project managers. For frontline technicians, we made sure that the wife was involved as well, explaining that this is a 24/7 business and you maybe get called on New Year's Day or Christmas Eve or something of that nature. And what we also did was at the Christmas party, at the end of the year, we always handed the wife a gift card between 100 and 250, depending on how long the employee had been with us, to thank her supporting the fact that this is a 24/7 business.
That's smart.
Yep.
And you give mama some sugar. It certainly makes things. Cool. Okay. Zach, what do you got, bud?
So where are you going from here? I mean, you're doing real estate, you're doing asphalt. What's your where you see all this stuff in 2 years, 5 years, so on?
The majority of the goal is just autonomy, at that point. 100% is grow bottom line, full autonomy, continue to scale the machine. And I would say, I keep saying I look in periods of life. It's hard for me to say, 10 years, 15 years, it's just not realistic. So much happens in 5. So for the next 5 years, right? I'm very much committed to just do this more. And how do we, my mantra right now is how do we get more and do less? And that's, I just want to do a lot of that.
What does that look like? Is that hiring people? Is that changing the types of jobs you do?
It's a mix of all.
Okay.
It's a mix of all. I definitely don't have the perfect, handbag yet of I haven't had it all figured out, but there's definitely some jobs that pay significantly more. There are some jobs that are significantly better. There are some clients that are significantly more profitable. And it's pulling on every single one of those levers until it's just man, this is just, it's very lucrative. It's very easy. And it's, it's fun.
How many hours a week do you
Absolutely.
say you spend in the business? I know you have that, though. You said it was a 30-minute Zoom with your team once a week. I mean, what else besides that?
I mean, I still build a lot. I can go for, durations of time. I was just gone for, 4 days here and, everything's fine when I come back.
Nice.
So it's not like the business doesn't need me. But over extended periods of time, the business would need me. But, building redundancies and cleaning up some of that stuff. We're big on integrations right now of we have done a lot of manual work, especially on the sales side of anything that we can automate and delegate. That is the motive.
So when you say automation, how are you using AI in your business at all?
We're using AI, and just more and more and more of it.
Which tools are you using?
So a lot of it is takeoff stuff where before we used to have to send reps to every single project. We have surveillance softwares now, and it can be as as needy as real time, basically. Of within 24 hours, I can get a satellite out or a drone out to that position and give me a real time accurate takeoff at 90. I want to say their last stat was like 92.8%.
Is that within your territory or nationwide?
Nationwide. I can do it anywhere. I can see site conditions anywhere across the country in our setup. We just don't utilize it. We utilize it coastally because it's where our energy is best spent.
Wow. That's fantastic. What a time saver. What a money saver.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like we were talking about in the last one, Mike, of speed to lead. Like if somebody can get a quote and you can get out to their site within 24 hours and give them an estimate, that's got to be huge.
Absolutely. So what would you say is your focus on your business in terms of mix? Are you more with consumers or commercial jobs? And which one do you prefer?
We started, I would say, 70-30 consumers, so residential. And I seen, crew utilization, equipment utilization, all of those things have become numbers that I track very hard now. I get weekly reports sent to me of like idle time, S&C time, all of those things, where in residential, we still have both, to be clear, but we had swapped the model. So roughly, I was just telling you guys the numbers here of like 63 to 67% commercial now and 30-ish% residential. It's actually like 24%. And then we have 8% other, which would be some retail sales, consulting, all the other things we do inside of the business.
Gotcha. Now, why the switch from residential to commercial?
So it is definitely equipment utilization and crew utilization. When I looked at the business from the entirety of the beginning, I've realized every single minute that pump is not spraying, or every single minute there is not blacktop running through that paver, we're losing money, because we are a very people heavy and equipment heavy business. So millions of dollars of equipment and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of salary. So every single minute that machine isn't running, like, we are losing money. So I tracked those numbers, and it was just build efficiencies amongst them. And in commercial, if I have 500,000 square feet, it's one mob and the crew works the entirety of the day. So I might be at 90% crew utilization and equipment utilization. But in residential, it's drive 30 minutes to the house, work for 45, drive 15 to the next one, work for 30, or, I pave 2 driveways in a day, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. So I still have, triple the mobs that I would on a commercial job. So we've focused a lot on that. We redesigned trucks. We actually custom built the trucks to build for efficiency, like the Kaizen lean construction model. Everything is shadow cased and everything has a spot, just to pick up those utilizations.
That's fantastic. Do you do any government work or any city work doing roads at all?
We like municipality work. We learned we do not like state work.
Why?
That was
There's got to be a story
that was
there.
college education. Yeah, that was a college education. I definitely, I say I've paid for my college education in many ways, and it was not through the school system. It was the school of hard knocks. So, yeah, that was we did some state work, and it was like $100,000, cost, right? We did something and it was like, oh, it's the same thing, over and over. It's just this, it's just paving. We do this all the time. Well, yeah, it's not just that all the time. They hold you to a tolerance that they can't achieve and then hold you responsible for it. So state work is definitely not the funnest thing, but municipality work, and we like privately held commercial.
Now, when you're doing municipal estate work, is that all bid work where they're going with the lowest bid every time?
Not always. We typically, when we target municipality work, we're targeting either owner-required work, because a lot of, say, trucking facilities, they have triaxles blown out onto the road every day. They destroy the road. The municipality will back charge the owner, and they'll be the one responsible to complete that project. So they're selling off of that, they're getting sold off of value and relationship, unlike the traditional municipality standard. But then we also have a third party, whatever you want to say, like a pre-qualification system, where we get like fine tooth comb audited, financials, insurance, backgrounds, everything, where we're pre-vetted, where we kind of bypass the bidding process.
Okay. Interesting. So when you said that background checks, how difficult, because I know in my experience in the trades, it's pretty common to have somebody that has a record. How do you deal with that? Or you just not hire anybody with a record?
We background check, we drug test, and OSHA certify every single one of our employees.
Wow.
Okay. So how far back are you going on the background?
We have a couple different options, but typically we'll do at least the last 10 or 15, I think the pool is. But it'll bring up anything. It won't give the details, but it'll say charge or whatever it is. The last 10 or 15 is like, it'll spell out the charge and what happened. The other ones will just say there's a charge there, and then we can run a secondary search if it's something. We don't worry about misdemeanors or, some of those things, even felonies, as long as it's not like there are certain things that we can't have. We can't have, certain things on certain sites. We do a lot of schoolwork.
Okay.
That is a prime example of that.
Sure.
So people would have to be qualified to be on those facilities.
Yeah, when I had my construction company, it was the same thing. Like I had a kid who became a manager in the company in the mitigation department, and he had felony DUI because he had 3 of them. So and it had been 10 years before we hired him. So for something like that, at the time he was single, doing silly stuff that single guys do. He got married, had a couple kids, and there was absolutely no way that he was going out drinking. Especially if you knew his wife. That was not going to happen. She had a tight rein on him, and he needed it.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Oh yeah. Before I even, it's funny, he started as a frontline technician. Before I promoted him, myself and his wife and him went out to dinner, and I explained everything to her because I knew that she was going to make the final decision. It wasn't going to be him. So,
yep. Target the one.
It was very interesting. So.
How are you finding a lot of your leads, your clients? Do you get a lot of referrals with commercial, or are you you're using AI, you said, and how's that work?
So a mix of all. We have 64% of our business is repeat. The only thing that is the model of commercial, depending on the client, is annualization repeat, but majority of the time, if it's a maintenance, we see them in 3 to 5 years. So it takes a while to realize that gain, but they're typically referring people. Our outside sales reps are hunting, so they're actively cold calling businesses, emailing, and then they're also doing drop-ins. They're required to do, they have KPIs for all those weekly. SEO is huge. We are in a service-based industry that is typically demand-driven, especially on the maintenance side of like, fix my pothole, pave my driveway. So we focus a lot on, direct type search engines that would then cue the client to call us and try and rank high on those things. And that's really our kind of mix.
Do you have an outside company that's handling your SEO, or are you doing that internally?
We have an outside company that specializes in only asphalt and roofing. That's all they do. Asphalt.
Huh. And you find that even like doing I'm sure if somebody's like, hey, fix a pothole in my driveway, that's a small job for you guys that, I don't know, it's probably not too exciting, but do you find it leads to other stuff often, or do you just kind of do it because you want to keep your crews busy?
So there is 3 angles to that question. Again, we have the reason I've never eliminated residential yet and or patchwork is the cash flow. It's typically cash flow and delivery just about. Where you go do $1 million project and it's a net 90-120, you got to hold that for that 90-120. But I can still get a crew that prints $15,000 a day with 2 to 3 guys, and it's just about almost cash on delivery. Like, it just pays the bills.
So it's easy. Okay. Even though they're small, they're easy enough that it's totally worth it to, grind through those small stuff.
We built the efficiencies to do that many. Like guys be like, yeah, I run a residential crew. I do 3 to 5 a day. I'm like, yeah, we do 15. On the maintenance side, for sure. Patching, you could say a patch that's $1,200. You could easily get 5, 6, 7 of them in there. And typically, The difference is the smaller it gets, the more expensive it gets.
Sure.
So the price goes up significantly where you're paving at $2 a foot at, large commercial scale, and you're charging $45 a foot on patchwork.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you like batch the jobs where, because you don't want your crews to spend all day driving around between job sites. Do you like look what you've got for the next week or so and try to shuffle things around so that they're close to each other?
Yep, we run like a 6-week schedule typically, and then we just run zones. So we have like zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what it goes up to now. Kelly, our CSR frontline, she does all that. So we know we'll be in this 10-mile, 20-mile radius this day. So we book all of those jobs on that day, and then it just goes over and over. And then if it's like, hey, we need this done now, you pay a premium.
Okay, so even though you like, is that must be how you guys can do 15 a day where your other competitors are doing 2 or 3.
Yeah, and it's the biggest thing is like these guys just don't pick up the phone. So like people don't majority of the time need it done right this minute. They just want to be answered. They want a quote in hand, and they just want to be communicated with and on a schedule.
That's a good point. Like, yeah, if I had a pothole in my driveway, it's not the end of the world, but your wife keeps nagging on you to get it fixed. You at least want to have that on the schedule, right? You just want to say, yeah, I called the guy and he's coming 2 weeks from now. It's not an emergency.
Yep.
That's funny. This has become a wife bashing or.
But I get that. That makes sense.
Support. Interesting. So, odd question, probably irrelevant. What do you do if you drive up and there's a car over the pothole and they're not home? You just move on and make them wait another 2 weeks till you're in the area?
We very explicitly give details, and then when our CSR schedules that appointment, she says that everything's supposed to be clear and free from the working area at 6 a.m. every morning for the entirety of the day. We don't give specific times. Make sure it's off at 6 a.m. and expect it to be 9 o'clock at night. I'm not going to give you a window of time. I don't know. We have so many jobs. I can't tell you, but it will get done in this day. If there's a schedule change, we will tell you. If not, it is billed at this rate for a remob. And on commercial jobs, we're picking. We take a tow truck and we'll pick cars all day long.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You get a parking lot. How are you going to wait until there's not a single car in there? There's no way.
Yeah, you tow. Majority of the time, you shut the lot down and it's typically pretty good. But in really busy plazas and those type of things, there's always cars.
Huh. And I know you said you keep your guys busy in the winter. Off season doing real estate and flipping, but I would imagine your machines just sit. There's probably no other purpose you can do with those, right?
Yeah, we do, again, coastally too. So winter months, we typically do warmer. We do work in the warmer states, and we will mobilize more for those type of jobs. And then we also have emergency type stuff. So we have infrared machines, which when plants are shut down, we can actually fix potholes when no one else can. And that's typically when you're getting those emergency calls. Home Depots are really big, Lowe's, Targets, those type of things. It's all liability for them. So they really don't care. And it's better than a cold patch that's, out of the bag, but it's not quite as good as fresh hot mix. But we can kind of make mini batches of hot mix for those jobs.
Interesting.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And so not many other people in your area do that then? Is that a unique thing that you guys offer?
It is pretty unique. It's not a very common thing, and you can typically, charge as needed of say a 15-minute press is $400, $500. And it's as many as you can do in a day.
Huh. Wow.
That's interesting. Yeah, it becomes an assembly line.
Yep.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit to mindset. Have you always been interested in business? I know you've been in business for a long time, but what made you want to go through all this trouble? That's what right. A lot of people, they say, people start a business so that they work 80 hours a week so that they can not work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. I would say a lot of it was just, it's probably a lot of things. And it was the maturing in those things and the life experiences. Growing up, we didn't have much of anything, like lived in low income housing for just about, over a decade. We didn't have much. I never wanted to be in that position. I've always been a very fast paced, hyper person, if you can't get the energy by now. And I wrestled for 14 years. Wrestling turned into a bodybuilding career because it was just so extreme, right? The extremity of the energy and the output and the discipline to me was what was attractive. And then, as you get older, you have fun and those type of things. And, then energy's in girls and doing the thing. And it wasn't serving. So I found business. And I've always kind of had an authoritative thing, too, that I didn't do well with. So you mix those two together of I didn't like authority. I have lots of energy and I could constructively put that energy into something. Well,
yeah, business, there's a couple ways those two traits could go, right? At least you chose to do something constructive with it, right?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I started my first business at 23 because this and this don't always work together. So it was not conducive to being a W-2 employee at all. Yeah. The few jobs that I had where I stayed for any period of time was where the supervisor left me alone and let me do my job. Yep. I can remember when I worked with kids that what we would do is, and we all knew it with it was a residential facility. The 3 cottages that he was in charge of, we all talked, the residential counselors. And if you wanted to get rid of Jeff, you would ask him a hard question and he would say, I'll get back to you. And he'd be gone for a couple of weeks because he was ducking you because he didn't have an answer to your question. Oh, we all knew it. And now, I don't want to see Jeff. He's been a pain in the butt. I'm going to ask him a question. And it was just a hysterical thing. But yeah, working for somebody else, I'm with you, man. That's definitely not something I can do. I haven't done it since I was 23. So, and now being 25, it's been a full 2 years.
And I think business is a great way to go for people like that, because you work with all these different clients and you don't get along with everybody, but if you get along with most people in business, you'll probably do all right. If you piss everybody off, that might be a different story.
Yeah.
Well, what I would do is I always hired somebody to deal with people I didn't want to deal with. Here, you got to deal with that person. I just can't. I just don't want to ever see them again. If they call me, we're going to lose them as a customer and you're making a commission, so you don't want them to call me.
Yeah, that's another huge thing of business versus being an employee. If there's something you don't want to do, you can get out of it. If you're an employee, it's a little tougher.
Yeah. And I would say young and gunning in business, right? There was times where I've been like, dude, pound sand. But, now it's just get away from everyone and we don't have that. And it's also you have bad clients too, where it's look, I don't care how green their money is. I just don't need it. It's not worth it.
Yep. I see somebody call and I say, oh my God, this person's calling. That's a good sign that not a good fit.
It's either not a good fit or I got to assign them to somebody else because I do not want to talk to them again. Yeah. It was funny. My project managers in the construction company knew that if it got as high as me, that it was going to cost them money on their commissions because I'm just going to do stuff so that the customer will shut up and go away. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't. I can handle basic stuff, but when they start going on and on and on, it's like, okay, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yep.
This. Okay, you got it. Bob, just do it for him.
Tell me what you want so that you go away.
It comes out of your check.
You leave my office.
That's it. We're done. Out. Off your commission, it shouldn't have come that far. You didn't take care of it. That's not my problem.
That's a way to make them handle it. That's it.
True.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, Skyler, this was fantastic. We appreciate it. Any final things that you want to say to our audience? Just so you know, it's as big as Joe Rogan's. So make sure you be careful with what you give. But, give us some information if you're comfortable with how people can contact you. And we'll put it in the show notes and any final things you want to say.
Yeah. So Instagram, Facebook, Skyler Garman, Garman Skyler on Instagram, our website, ProSealPA.com for any and all asphalt needs. And reach out. I mean, between everything, between the real estate, between any type of commercial facility. Typically our target, again, to be clear, is one to many commercial facility owners. I'm typically targeting someone that's 200,000+ square foot and above, and they need a preferred vendor to maintenance and or construct their facilities. We run into that a lot, where people build and they have all the trades, the conventional trades, right, that travel with them, that take care of their projects. And asphalt is typically not one of them. So we like to fill that gap.
Awesome. All right, man. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you being on.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on,
likewise. Culture and leadership is the key to secret sauce too. Culture and
Absolutely
leadership.
Thanks, man.